suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. W.C. Handy, won't you look down over me? Yeah, I got a first class ticket, but I'm as blue as a boy can be. Then I'm walking in Memphis, just walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Saw the ghost of Elvis on Union Avenue, followed him up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now security, they did not see him, they just hovered around his tomb. There's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle room. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? They've got catfish on the table, they've got gospel in the air. Reverend Green, be glad to see you when you haven't got a prayer. Boy, you got a prayer in Memphis. Muriel plays piano every Friday at the Hollywood, and they brought me down to see her, and they asked me if I would do a little number, and I sang with all my might. She said, tell me, are you a Christian child? And I said, ma'am, I am tonight. Walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring
Walking in Memphis.
rain.
Mark Cohen had it just right, because you do have a prayer in Memphis. Even when you feel that life has thrown you a curveball, you have hope in Memphis, because the people in Memphis truly care about you. My name is Greg Grant, host of the Grant Brothers Bluff City Report. My co-host is here today, my brother Alonzo. You got a prayer in Memphis?
Got a prayer in Memphis, absolutely. How you doing, Greg?
Doing good.
Good to see you once again.
Well, it's good to be seen. And
On this side.
On this side. As a fellow told me one time, he said, it's better to be seen than viewed.
Okay, or read over.
Yeah, read over in an obituary column or whatever. I want to thank you for joining us today. We're in for a good show today, and we certainly want to thank the Tamara Productions Television Network. We're happy to be a part of Comcast 31 and working with Tamara. She's absolutely fabulous and outstanding.
Outstanding young lady.
and she knows how to get the job done. She has a marketing portion of her business where she's selling t-shirts and
Right.
things for men and women, and I would encourage all of you to buy a t-shirt. Support her because she's working very, very hard to do something very positive in the city of Memphis, would you say?
I would say because she was the one who brought us on. So, and I appreciate her for that, getting us this exposure.
Absolutely. So we're on every Sunday from 7 o'clock to 7:30, and we come on right before she comes on with her Video Sunday Gospel Show. So kudos to Tamara. She's doing an outstanding job, and we're happy to be here, Comcast 31. Speaking of walking in Memphis, we find out that more killings and shootings are back on the rise. What do you think we should be doing in the midst of all of this?
I think we should be a bit more vigilant. I think that we should be more interjective into our communities than we have been in the past, because it's more than just saying people are gone crazy, because I don't think people are really gone crazy. I think people are buying into or have bought into what society has put before us. I mean, and we've said this before, and that's not to excuse the behavior of people, but we've been put in a box, and we are reacting to where we are. We have excessive guns, we have poverty, we have all of these financial problems, and people are just reaching out, lashing out at each other. And we've been put in this community kind of box. Who else are you going to do all these things to? It's no such thing as black on black crime, I wouldn't think. But that's the impression that we are led to believe, that is just about us. We just destroy each other. Well, we're destroying each other because we're in this box. And there's no other way or no other people or nothing else to do outside of the box.
So what do you think could be possible remedies for climbing out of the box or organizing the box where you don't have as much killing and don't have people taking advantage of other people? What is it going to really take? Is it an accumulation of things where society has a role, where the faith community has a role, where government has a role, and family has a role?
Exactly.
It takes all of those entities working together to produce a good, solid citizen. Think about our lives and where we come from.
Right.
And the kinds of people that had impressions upon us from elementary school, junior high school, college, the whole 9 yards. You can think about the people that had the impression on your life, who taught us as much as they knew, and an accumulation of our teachings gives us the ability to express how we are and what we've turned into.
Right.
Where you accumulate and assimilate all of these things, from education to society, where folks stood in the gap when your mama went to work. You had Miss Annie or whomever taking the place of your mom while your mom was on the job. Do we have that kind of stuff today? I mean, you can't hardly say anything to anybody's child.
Well, we've gotten away from who we used to be.
Will we ever get back to being who we
But
are or used to be?
We can be if we start to knock down some of these newfangled things. Just the other day, my son graduated from high school. Your nephew, as you know.
I was there.
And they graduated Thursday. So Friday night we had a party at home, a graduation party. And he was put in the position of standing in the middle, and we had a bunch of people around giving out advice. And one lady got up and gave out some advice, just follow your own mind, and it's your life to live, and don't let other people live the life through you, and this, that, and other. I kind of took exception to that.
Yeah.
Because it was like, don't listen to anybody else. Well, my position is, we got to be able to articulate to our children that what we have to say matters.
It does matter.
And they don't know the way.
Right.
And what we're trying to tell them is, you may not listen to everything I say, and I'm not really trying to live my life through you, but I've experienced a bunch of these things that I'm trying to tell you, and you don't have to make the mistakes that we made. You know, if you'll just kind of take this advice, the road could be a lot less harder for you if you take some of the advice that people are passing on. It's your life to live, but you don't know how rocky this road really is.
Absolutely. And some of the same mistakes in life really repeats themselves.
Absolutely.
Every generation, the same situations are there in their faces as it stood in our faces and our parents'
Right.
faces along the way.
Because it's all new to them, like
Right.
it was all new to us.
Right.
You know, and you can't. I mean, it's just like drugs, guns, drinking, all that, all those different things. I was thinking the other day, you know, how when we were young, it was fashionable that 4 or 5 guys get together, we go and do this, all the wrong things. But we didn't have, in some cases, we didn't have people around to just say, don't do this or don't do that. It could mess you up for life. So we got to be there to try to change the direction of what's going on with our young kids. And we have to stop chasing a situation that really doesn't want a part of us. We got to grow our kids up to be who they really are. I mean, we got to stop chasing this situation on the other side and stand for something ourselves and believe in our own history rather than everybody else's history. You know, and probably the most distressing part about all this stuff, nobody's willing to historically or chronologically lay out what we're about. We're trying to be about what other folks are about. What about who we really are? And I think that's one of the keys, is getting back to the basics and knowing our history, knowing from whence we came, and be proud of it.
Absolutely. We could start with that by every black person in the city of Memphis visiting the National Civil Rights Museum.
Exactly.
As a start.
As they start.
Even if your parents don't know, to tell you, they can take you to the truth.
Take you to the truth.
And the museum will speak for itself.
That's right.
And take you through, you said something about the chronological aspect of it all, in an orderly fashion.
Right.
That's what the National Civil Rights will do. It builds on the history and it starts from scratch to show you where you started and where you have gone, and basically show you what the future will be if you adhere to what we've already experienced in the past.
We see every single day how it has been and it is for black people in America, and not just in Memphis. I mean, I was looking at the other day when Donald Trump went to where he is now, Saudi Arabia, and blah, blah, blah. Well, 2 years ago, Michelle Obama and President Obama went to Saudi Arabia, and Donald Trump had a fit because Michelle Obama came out without her hair covered, her and her daughters. And he said it was disrespectful. It made America look weak, and we didn't respect the religion of other folk, and blah, blah, blah. Well, they went to, or in Saudi Arabia as we speak, And his wife came out yesterday, no headdress, no covering, arms out, whole shot. But it was just a travesty when black people did it. Now, nobody's mumbling a word. We deal with this kind of stuff every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get back to us being ourselves, our people, being the dominant people. Forget about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Think about who we are.
And not be afraid of who we are.
Who we are.
And that's what the problem is with a lot of black folks. They're afraid. All you have to do is go back to roots.
That's right.
And you had all those characters who display people today.
That's right.
Who you have? Chicken George.
Right.
He went along with the program and trained the chickens how to fight.
That's right.
Well, that wasn't a threat to the master, because he was on the campus. He was
Right.
on the farm. He was in the field teaching roosters how to fight. Now,
The only threat to the master was Kunta Kinte.
mhm,
Because Kunta, he always wanted to go back to his history, his roots, who he was in Africa, who his father was in Africa. And he wanted to portray that in America, and they didn't want that to happen.
and all the time that
You know.
Kunta Kinte wanted to be true to himself, who's his biggest critics? The folks who look just like him.
Just like him. In order to them to get the crumbs off the master's table.
And not only that, in the position to go back and tell the master everything that Kunta Kinte was trying to do. And even if those who wanted to escape from the plantation, you always had a person in the midst who would go and tell the plan.
Right. And it may sound corny, and it may sound old-fashioned and old-phobic, but we are somebody. And we have a rich history. I was speaking the other day at the church, and we were talking about Egypt and the cradle of civilization and where the people of color came from. Well, the powers that be would have you to believe that Egypt is in the Middle East, and it's actually in Africa.
It is.
And you probably couldn't take 200 black people and ask them that question, where Egypt really is, and they'd come up with the right answer. But that's a historical matter, and we don't know and follow our history. Egypt is in Africa, and that's where it all started, right there. So, and who's in Africa?
Folks who look like us.
Folks who look like us.
And I think James Brown had it right when he said, "Say it loud,
Black and I'm proud.
and I'm black and I'm proud." Because before that, people were ashamed.
That's right.
They were ashamed to be black or ashamed to be African American and wanted to be something that they could never be.
Right.
That's a problem, because you will never get ahead when you're denying yourself of opportunities.
Right. And I mean, it's just like today, when you think back, and we did certain things because we were ashamed of our hair, we processed our hair, we did this, and we used the Archer, the skin, lightening skin tone, and we were ashamed to be black, and blah, blah, blah. Well, we're not really doing those particular things today, but we're doing other things to show that we're ashamed of who we really are. I mean, it's just like the way that we speak. I don't have a problem with a person sounding black. I mean, and it's great to speak correct English, but you don't have to sound like them in order to try to get gravitate to them. Be who you are.
Be who you are.
Be who you are. And if they can't accept you for who you are, which the move is not to accept you, but it's a whole factory of pretenses, and we fall for it. So be the man, the black man, and the black woman that you are.
Think about where we came from at Carver High School. And we really got a big dose of it at Carver when our teachers would teach us that in order to get ahead, we have to go beyond the status quo to a great degree. We learned something a few years ago. It's not what you know, It's not even who you know, but it's...
Who knows you?
And if you're not known by anybody, you won't be able to get anything done. But our teachers taught us to be better. Not because we were black, but when you are better, you excel further.
Right.
And basically, I feel like if you are a professional person in the industry that you're in, you don't have to pretend to be anybody that you're not. You're just a professional person.
Exactly.
And your professionalism will make room for you.
Exactly.
Most people feel inferior because they don't have the right professionalism.
Right.
They feel inferior, and by feeling inferior, they feel like whatever they have to say may not matter. Or they may not feel like they're educated enough to talk about a particular subject. But when you study, when you apply yourself, when you stay in school for the young people, and even today, even if you're out of school, Tennessee Connect is out there for folks who've been out of high school and may want to go back to college.
Exactly.
The state will pay for that free of charge, whether you're 35, 45, 55, 65.
Right.
If you have a desire to better yourself educationally, the state will pay for at least 2 years of college for you right today.
And it's absolutely no shame in that. It should be, you should be proud of that, because all that is your tax dollars
Working for you.
working for you. And that's what the system is supposed to do for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but they'll have us to believe that it's shame in that. It's absolutely no shame in that. That's what government should be doing for its citizens that put into the coffers of government.
And that's part of building your self-esteem.
Exactly.
Whether after you get your degree, if you go out and get a job in the area where your degree is or not. If you decide to sit at home and look at your certificate, at least you have it. And it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
There you go.
So when you put all that together, a lot of what we need to do is on us to make the right decisions, to do the right thing.
That's right. And going back to the earlier question that you asked, I mean, it's on us to pick our people up and try and show them the way. And you're not going to save everybody, you know. And if you think you're going to save everybody, you're sadly mistaken. But if you do just one, you've done your part. So, I mean, it's got to be a passion of ours. Getting back to Memphis. Memphis is a great city, a wonderful city. But a lot of people in Memphis have been misguided and led down the wrong roads. And it's going to be on us to try to pick people up, brush them off, give them another chance to do what's right to do.
Absolutely. And we're going to operate on the basis of that.
Right.
In order for us to get ahead, we have to build on the statement that my brother just made. It all depends on us and how willing we are to take our own destiny into our own hands, to mix it with the assistance that you get along the way, mix that with the education that you've acquired, put in some of the social ingredients, and listening to people that are older than you are, who may be wiser than you are. And you take it from there, you put that together, you shake it up, and then you basically apply yourself. It's like your son, my nephew, you know, Alonzo Grant IV. He's just now starting. He's 18 years old.
Right.
He's getting ready to go to college right here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's like an open book. And now the pages of his book will begin to receive words. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a chapter. Chapter upon a chapter upon a chapter. And at the end, you'll have yourself a life book.
Right. And what has happened to us as men and women in the black community, it just can't stop with our sons and daughters. We got to be willing to reach out to others and try and connect with them. I mean, my son's young friends, I try and speak and connect to them you know, and try and use him as an example, because everybody's not on the same level. And everybody doesn't have the same thing or the same home training or the same kind of parents.
Right.
You know, so we have to kind of step in and say, and I don't want you to look at him and say, well, he got the best parents, he got a this and that. Well, we should be parents for all. We should be able to reach out to all these young fellows. And I don't have a problem with telling a young fellow, pull your pants up, young fellow. That ain't going to get you nowhere but in a jail cell. And he can get mad if he chooses, but I'm going to say it.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, go home, study, do this, do that. Get mad, but I'm going to say it.
Absolutely.
So we got to have the courage to say to our young people what needs to happen. If they get mad, they just get mad, but you got to do your part.
Well, I think that's a great way to end this segment today, having courage to speak truth to power, courage to speak truth to family.
There you go.
And to bring it all into fruition. I want to thank you for joining us today. And on any given Sunday, it's going to be the Grant Brothers Bluff City Report. Stay tuned for our upcoming commentary. An individual who's going to be talking about the state of our schools.
Thank you, and have a great night.
I said an individual, I should have said me.
You still on tape.